I think Mike has made my job quite simple, actually, based on his presentation. What I would like today is to take you through, I won't concentrate a lot on digital factory. There are some things which I think all of you already know and we have talked about in the earlier sessions. I'll be mostly talking about what we are doing separately on Byte Factory and what are the challenges that we see in the implementation of digital factory and what we are trying to do differently. You will see some videos over here. We also have them set up over there. Feel free to visit us. My colleague Madhu is also there, and we'll be happy to talk to you and take you through the whole thing in detail. So just to start off, so there are a lot of components of digital factory. I've just listed down a few over here. So I won't go into each of them, but I think it's quite self-explanatory in that sense. But what are the issues that we see when we talk about digital factory or an implementation of digital factory? And based on our experience with so many customers across the globe, there are many things that come to mind, but these are the four. And I think when Mr. Jagdish talked about a lot of things, I think he touched upon it very vastly and very much in deep, but these are the four that we are kind of trying to attack through Byte Factory and what are the changes that we are trying to do on our platform. And essentially it is the overload of data that I think he talked about. There are hundreds of, like Mike said, there are hundreds of information which is coming in. How do you segregate that? How do you have a singular view that his MD wants or what the shop floor person also wants, and how do you make sure that it all happens in a single platform as such? And as of now, we are not there. Integration issues, there can be external sources of information, there can be external systems, SAPs of the world, you can have logistics partners, you can have external systems, external partners who are giving you information. How do you get all of that? And uncertain ROI, I think everybody has that question in their mind, and now the investment that I do, how do I get what it is, and how do I get it back? And the high input cost, right? So that is what I think Ram, when he talked about Byte Factory earlier, he said it's a SaaS-based system. The idea is to have the initial set of use cases ready for you. You can start from day one, and that reduces your cost of putting in a whole lot of money upfront and getting something built, which will take you at least 6 months to a year. And then you find out that, okay, no, I need to change a lot of more things in that. And then you wait for it to go live and things like that, right? So we're trying to reduce that as well. So I'll refer back to Dr. Dario's presentation and when he talked about the framework. And I think we have captured here, when I say in Byte Factory, I have production planning, condition monitoring, preventive maintenance, all of that. I think I'm tackling out of the 20 points that he mentioned in that slide, I think almost 7 of them we are tackling over here. So essentially, a lot of those things over here, at least for this region, are being taken care of by Byte Factory for you. Right? So these are all the apps that we have already built, and these are in implementation at various customer places, and this is being done. But I will just go back. So there are 2 ways that we look at Byte Factory. So the first is for manufacturing operations. So this is for your shop floor operations, for your MDs, CXOs, and for supervisors on how exactly the plant is performing. And the perfect example was Mike detailing out how it did for Hotpack. The other example is how we do it for OEMs, right? So in case of OEMs, so you have some of these apps, right? Service worker, remote monitoring, AR-based remote assistance. I think some of you tried out our AR or VR experience out there. So and preventive maintenance and smart connected products. So these apps essentially help an OEM or a service technician, for example. So if you are monitoring all the parameters of your device, of your machine, which is at a client location, for doing a diagnosis of the problem, you can just log into our portal and actually check out what the problems are being before you actually fire out a service technician or you actually call and try to fix it. So that reduces your cost on actually doing that, doing a remote assistance, and at the same time it increases the customer satisfaction. So we have done that with a company in Dubai itself for this, where we're monitoring all the customer installations. So why Byte Factory, right? So these are the 4 or 5 principles that we have in place. So the first one is that we want to cover the length and breadth of Industry 4.0 use cases. So we are there, I say 100 plus Industry 4.0 use cases. That is what our target is. As of now, we are probably at 60 to 70% of the whole thing. And we want to increase our coverage across in the coming years. The second and the most important aspect that when me, Ram, Sabri, and all were talking about this, that one of the biggest issues is that the configuration, right? Can it be a DIY kind of system? Can it be a system that anybody can go in with minimal training and set it up for themselves, rather than having to have somebody very skilled coming in and doing it? And that is one of the principles that we're very diligently working on. Anything or any app that we are trying to build it in such a way that it is fully configurable based on your needs and how you can customize it for your needs. And that has been one of the principles that we have diligently followed. The second one is the view, which is that we believe that the data is yours and you should be able to view in the way that you want, and how can I make it simpler for you to do that? There can be many sources of it. There can be many ways to view it. You can have Tableaus of the world. You can have Power BIs of the world. Can I do it in such a way that you can build your own and you can make it simply by yourself, rather than having to rely, again, on an expensive resource or build a team to kind of do that? And the last was more of a choice that we made on how do we be ready for the future as well. As of now, some of you or most of you might have this issue of it. There might be a corporate regulation about having it on-prem or on a on-premise kind of a solution. But we are a cloud-native application as such, but that doesn't preclude us from having an on-premise installation as well. It does, again, it's a cost security kind of trade-off that you can do there. So I'll just jump on to some of the demos that I'm showcasing here. So the first one is on Byte Factory and what are the differentiations that we are bringing in over here. So what you're seeing now on your screen is our homepage, and you will see a list of all the apps and their major snapshot of the key information which is coming in from each of them. You can have all the alerts and the highlights which require somebody's immediate attention. And this can be tailored across for the kind of roles that a person has. What I'm showing right now on the screen is the OE dashboard that, again, Mike kind of talked about, so I won't go into that. But these are all the things which are totally available in the system. This is the condition monitoring. Sorry, that was predictive maintenance. Now we go on to the energy. In the energy, again, one of the things that we're trying to do is the sustainability aspect. We are looking at the carbon emissions and how, again, we are able to classify it according to whether it is the energy was a renewable source of energy or whether it was from the grid and whether coal-based or any other based energy that was being used. So we're able to distinguish that, and we're able to give you the correct measurement around that. So, and that's a step towards making our application also ready for your sustainability needs, and that is one of the focus areas for us in the future as well. The other problem that I talked about earlier was that the integration issues or the time high input cost. And one of the biggest one of the biggest gaps that we see is the OTIT part of it, wherein it takes a longer time for there is a lead time for identifying the machines, the kind of sensors that is needed, and then you kind of set all of that up, get them all online, and then you have the IT guys coming in and then making the connections and trying to get it online. So what we're trying to do over here is that we have built out, based on our experience with so many machines that we have worked on, so we kind of know what are the kind of assets that is needed, and what are the major parameters that could be used for an asset, right? So to give you an example over here, so we have a list of, in our library, it's an ever-going library, but we have around 140 odd asset configurations that we have done. An asset is equal to a machine or is a type of machine. So here I'm just adding one of the machines that you might have in your organization. So when I add this machine over here, you can see that the parameters for that particular type are already listed. You don't need to then go and add them individually or do a bulk upload and know which ones to do. Now, all you can do is edit from here and remove the ones you don't want, or you can add as per your need. And then you can set the alerts, what is my criteria for how these parameters should be read. You can connect to the gateway that you need. As of now, we are supporting MQTT and ThingWorks, but in future, Azure as well and OPC UA. And then you can just look at all the parameters, and then you can start monitoring. The idea is, how do we bridge the gap to, as of now, it is days or months. We want to bring it down to hours and ultimately to minutes. And that's what we're kind of working on. This, again, leads back to my initial setup, wherein I discussed what are the problems. And one of the problems is the high input cost and the integration issues. And this is one of those factors which will help in resolving those. Mr. Jagdish talked about dashboards and whether good dashboards are the key to the answer. But I'll just talk about, of course, it has to look good in the end. But the information, and I think he also mentioned this, that the information is more critical in this, the data is more critical, and I think he emphasized it quite a few times, that how critical the data is. And again, what we intend to do with Dashboard Designer is to give a single view irrespective of the role. And this again, I hope I can help Mike with this at some point of time, wherein his MD, with a single dashboard, but based on the different sources of data and different roles of the user, I am able to show the same information to the MD as well as to the shop floor person. So what we have done over here is that we have made templates according to the different needs and the different apps which are present. And what we are doing here is, so I'll just take you through that. So we have almost 30 or 50 plus templates already in place based on the different roles and this thing. And it's a very simple edit process as such. We have not tried to make it very complicated. Most of the data analytics tools are pretty complicated. You need a specialized tool. All you need to do here is that you have to add the element. You have to add the widget, whether you want a line bar, a graph bar, what kind of graph you want, and you just have to give the properties of that. The other thing that we are trying to extend it as of now is that we're trying to add external sources of information in this. So as it can be an SAP system, it can be an ERP system, it could be an external provider. All those things can be added in, and this once the this is built, you just need to publish it, and it's available for consumption for anybody. So I was recently talking to a customer, and we were talking about knowledge bases, and one of the things that they said was that the document actually lies in his laptop, and people actually come to his laptop and look at that. So what we have done here is that we have an integrated knowledge base, which kind of, at the asset level, it gives you the whole details of the asset. You can also do RCA Kappa on maintenance part, everything. And I'll just like to point out, when I say Document 360, they are our partners in this implementation. They also have a booth outside, and we'll be very happy to help you out with more information about this. And I'll come to the next part of the topic that I had, was that marketplace. So one of the initiatives that we have taken here is that we want to introduce this concept of Industry 4.0 marketplace or Industry X.0 marketplace. The idea is for our customers, it will be a singular place where they can look at or identify newer solutions which are probably shop floor adjacent or manufacturing adjacent or some things. To give you an example, right? So learning and development. There might be specialized people who are coming and talking to you about these things, but it's not necessarily that in your usual way. But with our marketplace, you will be aware of, for example, Uptrue, which does learning and development. Similarly, I talked about Document 360, Covey.co. They are the company which does Document 360. They will have a lot of information. So these are the ones that you wouldn't know about, but with our marketplace, you should be exposed to a plethora of more apps and more solutions which might be fulfilling a business need that you might not be aware of. The second is that when you're taking from us, you're a trusted and a vetted source, you obviously reduce cost when you're going through us. And for our partners, again, it's a new geography which they can come into, new sales channel which they can look at, and at the same time, they will not be able to showcase their solutions to such a wide array of customers unless they are on a marketplace like ours. So again, we have a setup for marketplace as well. So please have a look outside when you have a chance. So we have around 30 odd things already in place. So we have the categories which are listed here. So I'll take you through, I think, one of them I'm doing a deep dive. Yeah. So one of the ones that we work with is in Green Factory. There's an EV charging solution based out of India. So that is the other thing that you might. So these are the customers that we kind of you already worked with or are in the process of working with them. So at various stages, some solutions in a POC phase, some in the implementation phase, and working with them on that. And what's the road ahead for us? And I think, as mentioned, yes, AI is going to be one. Sabri, who is coming up next after me, he is going to talk about AI in a lot more detail. But one of the first things, implementations that we see and that he will also showcase is the AI Copilot. The idea is how we can provide you more of a summarization kind of use cases. For example, it's the same, I will take the example that Mike provided, that if his MD is able to query in natural language saying that, okay, what was the status yesterday, what was the production yesterday, what was, where, in which plant was the problem, if he's able to ask, and if I'm able to summarize and give it to him in simple English, saying that, okay, out of the 25 locations, 99% were working fine, 1% had a problem. These are the 3 which had a problem, for example, right? So those are as a summarization in Gen AI, summarization as a use case is pretty interesting for us, and we're trying to work on that. Okay. Digital twin, I think there is a misnomer, and there is a lot of cost attached to this. It can go up to quite a lot of things. We are trying to evolve a low-cost digital twin based on AR, web AR kind of technologies, and we're trying to see if that can be made viable for our customers as well. And as I mentioned, we are on the path for Industry 4.0 use cases. We are 60 to 70% there. We want to increase it a lot more, and we want to cover the length and breadth of Industry XO use cases. And the marketplace I've already introduced to you, but we want to do a lot more activities in that, add a lot more partners, and build out more solutions to you on that. And the fourth, as I showed you in my in the energy efficiency section, I mean, we started with the sustainability focus. We're taking like baby steps probably at this point of time, but we're trying to build out more during this year on how we can help our customers in, let's say, a scope 2 kind of reporting, or even extend it to scope 3 as well. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, any questions for our speaker?
Thank you for that presentation. Huge aspects that you touched upon. One of them is digital twin, and the other one is about the sustainability. Now, if you can talk about, if you look at EU is driving a lot of the sustainability, especially on the standards point of view. Is there some roadmap in terms of data standardization? Because if you look at sustainability, digital twin, you have a lot of data, but interoperability between partners, between different industry bodies and so on, whatever data you're going to share with the governments, regulators and so on, that means you need standardization, right? So today there are some standards like IDTA and so on. So are you doing any work around that?
So we've started, what I've realized is, based on our research for sustainability, there are a lot of standards across countries globally. So like, at least I think I've noticed around 10 or 15 reporting formats that you need to support in that. But the way that we are kind of looking at it is that in 2 ways. One is that, first is, what is our captive unit, right? So we are already present in the shop floor, and we can do these measurements very quickly. Now we are your reporting partners in that sense. I'm not looking at sustainability as a separate business for us. We are saying that you, as an organization, our customer, you already have this need, and maybe it is voluntary right now, maybe it is a corporate goal right now, but in 5 or 6 years, it is going to be a critical component of your reporting, right? And it might be a mandatory reporting going forward. So how can I help you getting this information? Now, as of now, very simply, I can say that, yes, I can give you in a certain format, and it's up to you to decide on how to. But the way I see it evolving is that we will probably have to support all these reporting formats at the moment.
Fundamentally, it's not just a reporting. It's about the data standards, how you harmonize and save the data in a format, right? So there is Industry 4.0 data standards, which is evolving. And the concept of every product having a digital passport, right? So what does that passport mean? It means you are tracking the full life cycle of a product. Maybe it's a mattress. It is made with mixed set of materials. Can I share the data using the digital passport to the recycler, saying that, yes, these are the components of this mattress. So this is how you can segregate things and reuse it. So when you talk about Industry 4.0, it is all about what are the raw materials, how was it manufactured, how was it tested, how was it, so the entire life cycle, right?
Yeah.
So that means there is some set of data layer which is structured, which can be shared with partners on certain information, right? So that's what we're talking about, the Industry 4.0 standards.
Fair, yeah, get that. Thank you.
Just a clarification. So this is going to be a cloud offering, right?
Not, yeah.
So my understanding, maybe you clarify, if there's a real-time decision that they need to make, you're also offering them the edge, cloud and edge solution as a combination, or it's only cloud solution?
It's both. I mean, but then edge, normally people don't prefer, right? I mean, they would want it in there. So what we have done is the DAC would be available on-prem, and the DAC would be the one connecting to the internet.
Because we have to take a decision, immediate decision, right? On, let's say, safety or breakdown.
Yeah.
The latency, or if the link gets cut, how will continue to be maintained?
So essentially, there is a PC on site as well. So the data is stored over there, and then it is put onto the cloud. So that's a simultaneous process. But that is the backup or the DR or whatever. So it acts like that, and whenever it comes back online, it again puts in all that information. But if you're local and if you're able to, if you're present on the plant, you will be able to see the fresh information that you can take a decision. But yeah, somebody sitting far away and taking a decision would take it to the cloud.
Any further questions?
Hi, sorry, something I forgot to mention earlier, and that is about sustainability, which is my sort of main topic. There are two big moves at the moment in this country in manufacturing. One is Industry 4.0, and the second is sustainability. ITTI is the standard for Industry 4.0 as a starting point. And the big thing for sustainability is ESG. When you do ITT, you'll realize that 20, 25, even 30% of ITTI is sustainability as well. There's a huge overlap. And I would strongly suggest, as we do now, that you try and do the two together. Yeah? Because when you're calculating the carbon footprint of a finished goods, rather than guessing, you can actually have the data that will tell you exactly how much wastage, how much raw material, how much power, how much building carbon footprint went into making that product. So I would strongly suggest that you speak to Maxbyte, who are able to do both processes simultaneously.
Thank you. Any further questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Wonderful. Thank you.